Hey, what's up, good people? How you doing? Welcome back to Stock Up with Larry Jones. This one is going to be a morning short. This is going to be a morning short. We're going to get right into it. Hey, you guys know that, listen, this is sponsored to you, of course, by Stock Up You. But I have some great news for you guys today. Today we are going to start what I'm calling the Black Friday sale. Black Friday sale. Now listen. This is a coupon code. Write this down. STOCKUPBF. Stock Up Black Friday. Okay? Listen, no spaces, all caps, and you will get a Black Friday discount. All right? So make sure you click the top link below and get a Black Friday discount. Right? So this is a Black Friday sale. It's just going to go for a few days. So make sure you get that taken care of. All right. And then lastly, we know that this is Moo Moo Monday. Hey, we already know about all of the free stuff you're going to get, but you got to make a deposit. Good people. A lot of people are opening up accounts. You're not making deposits, but this is the best promo ever that they've got. 5.1 APR. Let's get right into what's going on today. All right. So the pre-markets were a little flat this morning. So I don't know where it is at the time that you're seeing this. I'm going to post this quite early. I'll be traveling today to another state. So I'll be traveling for hours. I got about 5 hours of driving time. Actually, probably about 6 hours of driving time there and back. We'll be driving to Wisconsin. Let's look at what I want you guys to keep your eyes out for today. All right. So here's some of the things. Here's one of the things I want you guys to look at. Let me blow this up. Dow futures, Nvidia earnings, OpenAI key for these. You guys can see that, right? Let's read right here. The Dow futures were a little changed Saturday night, right? With the S&P futures and the NASDAQ futures fell slightly. Nvidia earnings looming. So Nvidia earnings is on the 21st, right? And so let's read here. Those include Microsoft, Google, apparent Google, okay, Meta Platforms, Meta, Palantir Technologies, and Supermicro Computers, okay? So that's some of the stuff that is going on. So we're going to keep our eyes on Nvidia. Nvidia is the big dog for this week. Now we know Nvidia is a popular stock. We know that Nvidia, let me pull it up, is up greatly. All right, NVDA, it is up greatly. All right, so now the chart that you're going to see me with, yours is going to be a little different by the time you see it. But let's look at year to date. Nvidia is absolutely killing it year to date. Look at that, good people, up 244%. And what happens with it in the last week? You can kind of see we had a run up from the last week. We had about a 3% run up. But from there, we are down about 1%. So it's kind of tracking. Let's look at the month. As you can see here, even the last month, it has been running up about 19%. So Nvidia has been running up, and there are some analysts that thinks that Nvidia will have good earnings. All right, let's listen.
So you think it's bottomed. Nvidia. That's your top name?
Top large cap name. Obviously, all eyes are going to be on next week when they come out with earnings.
What do you think happens? I mean, I don't know if you heard Joe Terranova up here earlier suggesting that the next move of the market, so to speak, hangs on Nvidia and those earnings next week. We've come a long way. There's really no other catalyst. The Fed speak is whatever. What do you think about that?
I think it's important. It's a gorilla in the Mag 7 for sure. Does it hang on it? I mean, the market can continue to do well, just like we've sort of muddled through the tech earnings so far. Just because one of the names has a disappointing name. Suddenly it rebounds a few days later. But I think Nvidia will have a good report. I think it's only expensive if you think when they raised their guidance by $7 billion over consensus like they did in May. If you think that was a one-off, then it's expensive. If you think that was a sign of a secular shift and a lot of enterprises are getting into AI and building applications and models and that are going to use their chips and it's going to continue beyond just one quarter, then the stock is cheap and it can't work.
So, I like to give opposing sides. I don't like to look at stock through rosy glasses. I like Nvidia. I like Nvidia long term, regardless of what the earnings will show us about Nvidia. But what I want you guys to do is to check out one analyst's concern, all right? So let's listen.
And how it's setting up here. The stock is up, about 240% year to date. Everybody views it as sort of the uncontested leader in AI here. What are we looking for specifically from the company in this report?
So I don't think there's any question that they'll upside the consensus estimates. And if you're keeping score at home, that's $3.10 in non-GAAP EPS and $14.9 billion in sales. But I am worried about this. I am worried that we have a repeat this quarter of what we had last quarter, where they also crushed the numbers and gave pretty good guidance. After the call, folks raised their numbers all over the street, yet the stock took quite a hit. And so I think the expectations are so high for Nvidia, and we do have some potentially scary things, not in the near term, not in the intermediate term, but in the long term, with slowdown of purchases to China. Can we ever resolve that export mess? And also, what happens when the cloud hyperscalers get their fill of these Nvidia GPUs for AI and actually go into a pause mode where they digest their purchases? Because right now, they are buying everyone they can get. And these are very high average selling prices and incredibly high margins for Nvidia. So I just worry about the reaction, not the fundamentals that we'll see reported next Tuesday afternoon.
So the earnings is Tuesday, of course, tomorrow. And he brings out a good point that they could knock the ball out of the park and the stock still fall because of expectation. But Nvidia still, after it fell back, started to fight its way back after it fell off of a good earnings, actually, and good forward guidance. And so I agree with this gentleman. So it's one of these ones that we want to keep our eye on, all right? And there's something, so I want you guys to keep your eye on that, but I also want you guys to keep your eye on the NASDAQ. For those of you that are playing the Qs, okay? I want you to keep your eye on the NASDAQ today. I'll be traveling. You guys know I like to play QQQ. I like to do calls and puts on the QQQ. But listen to this for 1 second as you make your decisions for Monday's trading.
So looking at the NASDAQ here, after that gap up on Tuesday, not willing to back down.
No, it's, we're pausing, but definitely not a pulling back. I mean, that's for sure. We're 4 straight up days, so you can't really call it a pullback. We're holding, and we've come up right up to the early September highs on the NASDAQ and the S&P. They just have to get above than that, and then there's the July peak, and then there's an ultimate peak, but that's really, this July one is really what I've been looking for. It's moved very steadily. It's been very strong. There was a big gap up on Tuesday on the Thames inflation report. But there's some negative earnings reports during the week. Market pretty much shrugged them off. Yeah. Just didn't really bother it. Treasury yields fell. There's just a lot of good action. While small caps, as you say, had a really strong day today, it wasn't, it was still the strongest index of the week. It was still a really big move. It hit resistance at a key level. So that's important. So it needs to get above that, but still there was strength that we're seeing in the small caps as well. So a lot to like about this market. And in fact, on the NASDAQ, we are on the verge of getting to a power trend. We need one more day, like most of the criteria are there. We need one more day the 21-day being above the 50-day line. And barring a huge drop, we're going to do that on Monday. And then the only thing else we need is an up day, either. So if it's either Monday, or if it's not Monday, then Tuesday, Wednesday, or so
The
on.
next
So,
update, yeah.
and that's just a signal.
So he's expecting it to be another good day on today, Monday. As you can hear, he talked about the yields, bond yields cooling off, all of the good data that we had from the Fed. Well, should I say not the Fed, but CPI and PPI. And so we'll see how the day go. All right, good people. So I just wanted to hit you with this morning brief and have you looking at Nvidia and looking at the Qs, looking at the NASDAQ, and see what the day will bring about. Now, just remember, it doesn't matter where the market is first thing in the morning. As you guys know, there are huge turnarounds. Let's just wait and see what it does. All right, good people. Make sure you check out those two links. Make sure that you there we go. That's the code STOCKUPBF. Stock Up Black Friday. All right. For those of you that don't have the Stock Up view, this will be the last special of this year. All right. And the price will be going up next year. So make sure you get the class. And then secondly, make sure you get Moo and take advantage of 5.1% APY, right? All right, good people. We'll see you later. Pray for me as I travel. Hopefully you guys make some money today. Live, love, laugh, and learn.